What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is Web Dev Journey, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the CRUD operations and also getters and setters. We'll talk about that when that comes, but mainly it's going to be about the CRUD operations. All right, now this is the basics, like I said, so I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can so that way the video won't be that long. Everybody should really know about the CRUD operations. There's nothing to it, so let's just get right into the video. The first thing I did, guys, was add two more attributes inside of our model, which is the ID and the password. Password not that different, but the ID I want to talk about a little bit, okay? Now, as you can see, type Sequelize does give us a UUID type for our IDs, and that's good. That's what we want to use, right? And also, if you want to make it a default value, they also give us the module UUID v4 or v1, whatever you want. But they do give us the module UUID, so that way it could generate unique identifiers on the fly. No need to install UUID, the module UUID. Sequelize already comes with it. This is just a good to know, so that way you don't have to keep on installing useless modules that Sequelize already provides. All right. So yeah, just the ID, and we're making it the primary key. Basically, what we're saying with the primary key is that this is going to be the unique way of identifying this specific user. But we'll get into primary keys more later on in this series. So next up, before we even continue, guys, in your app.js, make sure you do have that express.url encoded and express.json. We are going to be passing in some form data, so just make sure you have these things there. Now, why am I using express.url encoded instead of body parser? Well, guys, there's another reason why you should know what comes with the versions you're installing. The version that we have for Express is 4.16. In this version, body parser is already baked into this version, so there's no need for us to install body parser, just another useless module that we will be installing. Instead, we could just use, where is it at? We could just use app.url encoded and express.json. All right, so yeah. You don't have to use, or you don't have to install body parser no more. You could just use Express, and it's already in there. It's good to know, right? I know. All right, moving on. After you have modified the models, just adding that ID and the password parameters in our services, in the user service, this is where we created all of the CRUD operations that we want to do. And we're going to go over this one by one, so that way you could see what's going on, okay? So first of all, let's talk about create user, okay? All we tried to do, all we did was make an async function, create user, passing in some stuff. We do need to pass in some stuff in the create user, because obviously when we create something, we do need the attributes that the module needs. In this case, the module needs first name, last name, email, and password. So we do need to pass those in: first name, last name, email, and password. And what I did was do a try catch block, since we are using async, right? And then we made a variable called user, await this.model.user.create. Now I want to explain what this is right here, and then we'll get into the create, because that's you probably already know what that is. That's just a function to create, obviously, a user using the user model. Anyways, this.models, what is this, right? So up here, when we did the constructor, we initialized it as Sequelize.models. Now, Sequelize.models, it's where all the models that we've created thus far is stored. So thus far, we only created the user model, so that's stored inside Sequelize.models. So when we say this.models, we're basically saying that, hey, we're trying to grab a certain model inside the pool that Sequelize has, and we want the user model. Obviously, if we had a Twitter model, or like a tweet model, let's say, or something like that, another model, we will say this.models.tweet, or whatever other model that you had. Now notice that I am using user, the same name that we used to define our model user. So if I define this as cat, I would put right here this.models.cat. Just wanted to make that very clear. And create, obviously creating, right? So this is going to take a few options or parameters, and this is going to be all the attributes that that model needs: the first name, last name, email, and password, right? And simply, that's all we're doing. This is going to create our user, is going to store it in the user variable, and we're going to return that user over here. Now that we have our function, we could actually go inside of our routes, inside of users, inside of the index.js, and this is where we're going to start creating some routes for specific CRUD operations, right? So in this case, we're going to be creating a post route for the /create. So when we want to create a user, they're going to have to hit the /user/create route in order to create a user. So let's try this out. I'm going to be using Postman. Okay. Now, before we do that, I do want to show you that if I go over here, if I refresh my tables, I'm going to have a, I don't have it. Where is it at? Let me restart my server. Maybe I deleted it without restarting it. So RS. All right. Let's try this out. All right. Let's refresh. And there it is. Now, if you go to employees right here, your tables employees, right click it, go to query tool. This is the query tool where you could just do simple raw SQL queries. So in this case, I want to select everything. I'll select everything from, and if I do control space, it's just a little shortcut, from employees. This is what I want to do. I want to list everything from the employees table, and now if I hit run, you're going to see that I don't have anything right now, which is a good thing, right? We're starting from scratch. I want to do this with you guys. All right, so let's go get rid of that, and let's go to Postman. All right, so as you can see right here, we're creating a post, and the URL is going to be localhost 3000/user/create, and I hit the body tab right here. Go to body, hit raw, and make sure it's JSON. All right, because we're going to be sending to the client, or we're going to be sending to the server some JSON data. Okay, so what we're sending is literally the first name, last name, email, and password. And as you can see, if I hit send, it's going to create that for us. All right, look at that. It created that for us. We have the ID, which is a UUID, generating for us. We have our first name as pass. Oh yeah, I did this anyways. Our first name is pass, and then last name word, email wdj@wdj.com, and then password is secret. All right, and we got the timestamp. I know it's kind of weird because the way we described our model, as you can see, where is it at? Over here where we say timestamp true, created at false, updated, and we renamed it. Yeah, you're not used to this stuff, but we've already talked about that in the last video, so check that out if you have not seen it. But as you can see, it does work. It does return what we wanted, which is the user, the ID, first name, last name, email, and password, right? Nothing to the create method. Now let's look at the get all users. All right, let's try to get this. And this is pretty simple. It's literally, we're going to find all from the user model. Find all is the method that we're using that's going to retrieve every single user that we have in our database. But before we do that, let's actually add a little bit more of users, so that way we get something other than what was it? Something other than password. All right, let's send this one. Let's send Tom Dank. Is there even a last name, a proper last name? I'm not even sure. Tom Dank, and we're gonna send one more. It's gonna be test and test. Sending that out. All right, so let's try that route, and that route is, let's go over here into our routes. It's going to be this one, /all. So this is the route that they're gonna have to hit to get all users. Now, take it in mind, guys, I did this beforehand, so that way we could just, blast through this. But you could change the route names if you wanted to, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just leaving it like this, so that way it might be a little bit more simplistic. But anyways, so all I did was await user service.get all users. Oh, by the way, over here, this is what we did. I forgot to tell you how I did this. So for the create, all we did was make a user variable, and we used the user service.createUser, sending in the rec.body, because we all know that that's where the form data lives, rec.body, and then we just destructured it over here, and that's what we did. Where is it at? Over here. We just destructured what's coming in. That's it. Okay. And then once we got that user, we're just sending that user out. Now let's go to the all. Same thing over here, but all we have to do is just get all users. It doesn't require anything, and then we're going to just send in the user list. So let's give this a shot. And that's a GET request. Remember that. That's a GET. So over here, what I'm going to do is get a GET, and it's going to be user and then all. So if I send right now, we're going to grab every single user in our database. As you can see that we have password, WDJ, Tom, and test. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But let's say that, hey, I want everybody in the database, but honestly, there's no reason for me to have, password or the updated update timestamp or the ID. I only want the first name, last name, and email. Let's say, right? So what we could do is up above, I made another little function is right here. Get all users with the attributes. Sequelize does provide us a way to just grab the certain attributes that you want, okay? And in this case, all you have to do is when you do find all, you're gonna put in an option, and then with attributes, with the property attributes, and then in an array, just name out all the attributes that you want, right? So in this case, it was what? First name, last name, and email, right? So if we control save this, and I did create another route for this, and the route is, where is it at? This one, /all /attributes, right? So if we hit that route, oh boy, there you go, /all /attribute. If we hit that route, you're gonna see that, hey, the only thing that is returned to us is every single user in our database and also their first name, last name, and email. That's it. But let's say that the only thing that you did not want was the password. You want everything else, but not the password. Now that would be extremely annoying to go to over here and name out every single little thing except for password, right? They do have another option that we could have or use, and that's the exclude, right? It's still going to be the attributes property, but inside that, we're going to have an option, and we're going to exclude, let's say, password, not email, password. We don't want the password being sent to the client. We want to exclude it, right? We want everything else except for the password. Obviously, you could add more things in here, but for now, let's just say password. Control save this. Let's go to Postman. Let's try it one more time. And you're going to see that, hey, look at this. We got every single user. And the only thing that's not in here is the password attribute, which is awesome. Phenomenal. All right, moving on. Let's see what else we have. Let's, oh yeah, we could do a find one where you're going to just literally find one. It's going to return just one data set back. So all we had to do was just use the method find one, and this is where you're actually going to have to pass in some criteria that you want to find, right? We want to find one where the first name is Tom. It's very, very simple how the structure is, right? The syntax. Where, and then colon, and then the option. First name equals Tom. And I did create a route for that. I think it's right here. So find one. So let's go to Postman. Let's try this out. Over here is going to be /user/find one. If I send this out, whoa. Oh, right. As you can see right here, I'm not returning anything. Let me actually just grab this copy. I was doing some other stuff, making sure everything worked, but if I control save that, I'm super sorry about that, guys. Let's try one more time. Send this out. You're gonna see that, hey, we only grabbed the one where the first name is Tom, and that's it, right? Tom Dang. That's the only user that we have with the first name Tom. And we could actually check that out if we go to the PG admin over here and hit play. You're gonna see that we get all the users, and we're gonna see Tom Dank is the only one with the first name equal Tom, right? All right. If we did have two Tom Danks in there, it will return only one of them, and it's going to return the first one that it finds. That's it. There are other methods such as like find by PK, primary key. I think it's by PK. I'm not too sure. I think it is find by PK, which is a primary key. So you would do a find by PK and then enter their primary key in here, and it will find that certain user. But I don't have that right now. We are going to use it later on. I'm telling you, there's a lot of methods that you could use. But honestly, guys, you could probably do that one on your own. Find by PK. It's pretty simple. So anyways, let's go. Let's keep on moving. Let's keep on going. So get all users. That's what we did. Get all users where this is where you want to find every single user where the first name is something, right? So we want to find every single user where, and then your criteria. In this case, I said the first name has to be WDJ. I think we only have one that's WDJ, but let's create another one. So we're going to create a new user, and over here WDJ, and then last name is going to be WDJ. Send this out. All right, we created another user, so we should have 2 users in our database with WDJ. So if we hit this, get all users, what is that? Okay, here, get all users where? So this is the what's it called? This is the route. Let's go over here. Let's go to a get function. All right, paste that, send that. Oh wait. Sorry. Let me hold on. I know what happened. Don't. Not right now. All right. So let me cancel this. Let me rerun this again. Yes. Okay. As you can see, WDJ and WDJ are lowercase, and I actually put a uppercase right here. So sorry about that. So lowercase WDJ. Let's go to Postman. Hit send, and there you go. We got 2 WDJ users sent back to us, and that's pretty much it for that. I'm telling you guys, I'm trying to speed it up a little bit. Now, update user. This is something that we want to talk about. Obviously, when we want to update, we're going to be using the update method, and the first parameter or first argument that it takes is that what do you want to update? Well, let's say that we want to update the last name to be changed 9, or I don't even know what I did. I'm gonna say last name changed or something. Changed, right? We want to update our last name to be last name changed. And then the second argument is, okay, what's the search criteria of like what actual user do you want to change it? So we're gonna say we want to update last name to be last name changed where first name equals WDJ, lowercase WDJ. And in this case, since we do have 2 WDJs, it's going to change both of them. All right. So we're basically saying right here is that, hey, whoever has the first name WDJ, we want to change their last name to last name changed. Okay, so let's try this out. Update user. I think it's a post, yeah, and /update. So let's go to over here. Let's go to, it's going to be a post. Where's it at? Post, and it's going to be update. So we can send this right now. We're gonna see that way we've updated the user, because that's what we sent. If you go back, this is what we sent, right? It doesn't really give us, when we use update, it doesn't give us a user back. Although there are ways around this, but when you just straight up use the update method, it doesn't really give us a user back. But let's go over here and let's check this out. If I hit send, you're gonna see that, hey, look, both of the WDJs that we have, they're both their last names have changed to last name changed. Okay. And that's pretty much it for that. Now let's delete a user. And we do have a test user. Yeah, test right there. So what we want to do is say, hey, we want to destroy. That's the method. And then you're going to send your criteria where first name equals test. Okay. So let's try this out. Let's go to the destroy, delete, /delete. Okay. And like update, delete does not send us the actual, user object back that was deleted. It doesn't send it to us, so all we did was returned deleted user, and that's it. So let's go to I'm pretty sure it's /delete. Delete, hit send, and here you go, deleted user. Let's go to our pgadmin, hit this again, and you can see that test is no longer in there. Pretty awesome, right? Now guys, this is basic. This is the basic stuff. You could get so much complicated with these. You could add operators to make this where a little bit more complicated if you really wanted to. Like let's say that there's you have a table or a column with ages, right? And you wanted to find every single person that has the age between, I don't know, 18 to 30. Right, there is operators that you could use to get that kind of information. I will have a link down below on the page, on the URL for Sequelize, where you could actually look up all those operators that you could use. I'm telling you guys, you could get very, very complicated, and we will be talking about that later on in this video when it gets more complicated. And we're not going to go over all the operators. That's way too many to go over. We're going to just be going over the ones that we're more than likely are going to be using. So just stay tuned for that. All right. So anyways, we're pretty much done with the CRUD operations. The last thing I do want to talk to you guys about is setters and getters. All right, what are they and how do we use them? Basically, setters and getters are going to be used in the models right here in the model section of it. And let's talk about the getter function first. So the get function is basically going to retrieve the original value of the database and then, do some manipulation that you wanted to do and then spit that out. I know it didn't make that much sense, but it will make sense right here. So let's say that we wanted to do a get function for our first name. Basically, we want to manipulate the first name before we send it out to the client. Okay, so all we have to do is say get, make that a function, and then pass in whatever we want to do in here. This is a function, right? Remember that. So what we want to do is say const. We're going to create a variable called const. And what we're going to do is make John, or the first name, when we send it out to the client, we want to make the first name all capitalized, right? We want to capitalize it, right? To uppercase. That's what we're going to do. That's what the get function is going to do. So we're going to make it a variable. We're going to get the raw data first. We're going to get the raw value that's being retrieved from the database. So I'm going to say raw data or value, doesn't really matter, value, and we're going to set that equal to this dot get data value, and then in here add in the attribute that you want to get the raw data of, right? So we want to get the raw data of the first name, so this is the attribute that I want to add in right here. So the method get data value is literally a method that's going to grab the data value as it is in the database. All right. So if it's John right here and this is how it is in the database, well, you're going to be grabbing that as the raw value. Okay. Now you could put the last name in here if you wanted to, or even the email. It doesn't really matter. But in this case, we want to mess around with the first name. So that's why I put the first name in here. Now, what we're going to return is we're going to return if there is a raw value, meaning that if there is a first name, which there should be, right? And what we're going to do is I'm going to just say raw value dot to uppercase. Awesome. If there isn't, then what we want to do is just return null. And that's pretty much it. Control save. Now, taking notice that this get function is going to be called every single time that you grab a single user or you grab just the first name. And I'll show you that and I'm gonna show you that right now. Let's go to it right now. So inside of the index, the routes index users, I'm going to be messing around with the find one. All right. So what I want to do is instead of sending the whole user, I'm gonna just send out user dot first name, because that's the thing that we sent out, right? The first name, that's the thing that we modified. And then we're also going to send out the raw value, what's inside the database, so that way you can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna say user dot get data value of first name. And yeah, first name, there you go. So like I said, get data value is going to give you the raw data that's actually inside the database, and we're going to see what's going on. All right, so if I control save this, let's go ahead over here. No, not right here. Sorry about that. Let's go in here and let's go to find one. Where is it at? Right here. Right here. Oh, right here. There it is. All right. So if I hit enter, invalid status code Tom. What happened? Hold on. Let's see what's going on. Oh, my bad. Look at this. Look how I'm trying to send out. Look at this. I can't do that. I can't do that.
Stupid, yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is say I'm gonna send an object. God, that's dumb of me. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna say getter right here. This is going to be the getter func. And then we're gonna have the so that way you could see it way better, right? All right, and then right here we're gonna have the OG, whatever the original is. Right, just like that. Control save this. I'm super sorry about that, guys. Let's try it again. Let's send this out. And then you can see this, right? Look at this. The getter function actually returns our capitalized Tom, and the original that's inside the database is literally just lowercase Tom, okay? So the thing that I wanted to point out is that it's not going to manipulate it and then send it out to the database, right? No, you're grabbing the raw data from the database first and then manipulating it into whatever you want. And to show you that this getter function is always called on the first name, I'm actually going to Control Z all of this, and we're gonna just literally return right here. We're literally going to return the user. That's it, the whole user. And you're gonna see that even with that, check this out. Even with that, look at this. Our first name is capitalized. All right, so I'm telling you, this is called every single time. Now that's the getter function. Let's talk about the setter function. The setter function, a great example for the setter function is going to be in our password. The setter function is actually going to it's going to send out it's going to do whatever you want and then save that into the database. So it's the opposite of the Git. The Git gets it from the database and then manipulates it. The setter is going to manipulate it first and then save it to the database. All right. So that's perfect for the password, since we do want to hash it before even saving it to the database, right? This is where a set function would actually, and this is going to take in the value of the whatever. This is where it's going to be very, very useful for us, right? It's going to set the password to the hashed version of our password and then save that to the database. As you can see in our database, let's go to our database really quick. Where's that pgadmin? As you can see, our passwords are all text, which is really, really bad, right? But let's say that we wanted to hash it before even saving it. This is where this would come in. And it's very, very easy to use. All we're going to do is, I'm going to just this dot, and we're going to be, instead of saying get data value, we're going to be saying this dot set data value. And set dot data value is going to change a attribute that you specify to whatever you want to. It takes in two arguments. First of all, the first argument is what attribute do you want to, change or set the data to. In this case, we want to set the password attribute, right? So password. And then the second argument is what do you want to change it to? In this case, we want to change it to a hashed version of the value that was sent in, but we don't have, bcrypt installed. So what I'm going to just say right here is I'm actually do ticks, and I'm going to just say hashed. And then in here, I'm going to just $, and we're going to pass in the value, right? The value that was sent. So in this case, it's going to say hashed and then whatever the value that you sent in. Let's control save this and see how it works. All right. So if I go to Postman and try to create a user, let's create a user. There we go. Let's go to body, and you can see our user is WDJ do, and then our password is secret. Check this out. If I send this out right now, you're going to see that, hey, look at this, our password. Check this out. This is what we'll store it in the database, and we'll check that in a bit. But you can see that our hashed and then secret, right? Obviously, this is stupid, but anyways, if I go to pgadmin, run this one more time, you can see that we got another one, and our password is hash secret. Pretty awesome, right? Pretty awesome. Now, like I said, this attribute, this set data value, you could use it on any attribute. You just don't. If I have it right here in password, I could use any other attribute I wanted to. I didn't have to use password. I could have used first name if I wanted to, right? So let's do first name. In this case, when we do the password, we're going to be setting the first name to whatever hashed and then the value passed in. But let's try it out. Let's try this out. If I hit enter right there, let's go over here, and we're going to do test right here. Test, and then test. All right, let's send this out. And as you can see, we get an error, and that's my fault. We're basically trying right here. We're basically we're gonna have a default value. Let's get default value. So we haven't. We've never assigned this a value, because we're setting the value of first name and not password, but we're going to give a default value of do. So let's try this out. Oops, over here. Let's try this out one more time. And this is probably not going to work. I mean, it did work, but it's still giving us errors. As you can see, our first name right here, hashed secret. Oh, man. It did work, but since we are using secret, or the value that we got it in for password as the value to set the first name, Password never gets a value assigned to it. So yeah, this is probably something you shouldn't do. But I'm just letting you know that this set data value, you could use it with any other attribute that you wanted to, but we are using the password. Ooh, there it is. Control save. And if I go to pgadmin, let's go to pgadmin, run this. You're gonna see that, oh, it didn't do it. It didn't actually save it, which is a really good thing. Awesome. I was trying to see if the first name was changed to the hash secret, but it wasn't, which is pretty good. It actually caught the error and then didn't send anything to the database. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. We went over CRUD operations. We also went over getters and setters. And yes, you could actually combine these two. You could actually have a get function inside of the first name, and also you could actually have a set function in the first name as well. And let's try that really quick before we leave, right? I'm just combining these two. And we're going to be doing the first name. We're going to be setting the first name, and we're going to be setting it to, I don't know. We're going to be saying, I'm going to just say whatever the value is, and then so that way we know. I'm going to just say value set, like that. All right, control save. Now, if you go over here, let's create a user, test and test. Well, actually, yeah, screw it, test. If we send this out, you're going to see that, hey, look at this. We actually got that setter to make our first name test and then set, and then when we retrieve it, is giving us the capitalized or the uppercase of the first name, which is uppercase test set. All right, and if we check our pgadmin, I actually opened up Firefox, which I didn't want to. You can see that, hey, look at this, test set was set for our first name. Like I said, you could combine them if you really wanted to, and there are some use cases where you wouldn't want to combine them. So anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I know this was probably a long video, so thank you for watching my video, guys. I hope you learned something new. I'm hoping you're liking the series so far. I know it's only been basics. I know I've said that so many times, but honestly, guys, there's a lot more complex stuff to come along throughout the series. Don't worry about that. Complexity is going to be coming. A lot of people are probably like, I already know these things. I know, man. I know. You probably do know these things, but this is for the people that doesn't know that much about, you know, Sequelize or even databases for that matter. So anyways, guys, I hope you understand me, and I hope you're liking the series. If you do, hit that like button and subscribe and comment down below. Also, if you want to help me out, there is going to be some links down below where you could donate some money. I would greatly appreciate it. Buy me some coffee, man. I really love my coffee. So thank you, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.